As of now, in February 2025, thousands of jobs are being cut. Most notably, this week, Starbucks has laid off 1,100 employees, and the IRS is in the process of laying off 7,000. The good folks who've been affected by this have been expressing their pain and anguish all over the TikToks to share their shock, their awe, their disappointment, and all of the other emotions and all of the elements and future concerns that are associated with suddenly losing your job at no fault of your own. Let's keep it a buck. Getting laid off sucks. I've been there myself twice, and it's one of the biggest shocks to your system because it's a total loss of control. It's like having the biggest sense of whiplash. You can't really be mad. You can, but what good is that going to do? Because now you have to expense all of your energy trying to figure out how you're going to survive. So, this brings up the question that I've been hearing for decades, probably as long as I've been alive, and that is, should you be loyal to a job? So, here's my quick take on the things that you should consider. Number one, be true to you and the career season that you're in. If you haven't checked it out already, it's on my blog at www.upwardlypaidpath.com/blog, where I outline the different career seasons that we're in. So before we start talking about if we should be loyal to a company or not, think about if it's aligned with who you are and what you need in this season in order to matriculate to the next one. Thinking about your career ladder. No, the situation may not be perfect, but is this where you're supposed to be right now? Just like we talk about in other areas of life, there are certain seasons for certain things. I'm a person, I grew up in Chicago, but I hate the winter. I can't just keep bypassing winter because I don't like it. There's a place for it, and I adjust to it because spring will come again. So, is it aligned with your season? So, I encourage you to go ahead and check out that blog to determine what season you're in and whether the job you're in right now is aligned with that season. Number two is taking one a step further, and that is this job, the company that you're at right now, going to give you an opportunity for your resume to have a little shine, have a little sparkle on top of it? Will it give you some street cred? If that's the case, then think about how it's going to grow you and expand you and the perception that you'll get from your colleagues or from other respected places in the industry. So, like I said, it may not be the top of your career ladder. It may be just a milestone or step on that ladder or where you're trying to go. But if you can grow here, if this is a place where you plug in your gifts and your talents, and there's a mentor that you can watch that'll help you apply them, or you've got some projects that'll help you grow and expand your capacity, then use this time to do that and focus less on the loyalty aspect of it. If you can still leverage your space in which you're in right now, it's never a waste. The third thing to remember is to take into account any abuse, toxicity, or stagnation. I am the queen of telling people to jump ship or to leave a nasty situation. Being in a toxic job is just like being in a toxic relationship. You can't really grow in a space like that. You'll be perpetually in a state of survival, and all that's doing is expensing energy and dulling your skills, which is the opposite of what I was just telling you what this opportunity should do and stand for, which is to take you to the next level. But if you go home and you've got to literally take off the day because of all of the mess that you encountered throughout the day, well, then, no, absolutely not. There is no sense of having any loyalty there. It's abuse. It's just taking from you. It's an energy vampire. It's sucking from you. There's not much more you can give, even to yourself. So if you find that a company is abusive, or person, or its policies, or the team, or the systems are abusive, toxic, or stagnant, where there's nowhere for you to not just go and be promoted, but there's no space for you to grow. There's not even a pot for you to put the seed of growth of your skills and talents and expertise within. then yeah, I'm the first person that will tell you to leave. Just like I highlighted career seasons, organizations go through different seasons as well. So if you've hit a rough patch, like a CEO left, or there has been some transition, acquisition, or some kind of shakeup, then give the opportunity a chance to mellow out themselves. But if you notice a prolonged period of abuse, toxicity, and stagnation that is rooted into the culture of the organization, or if it's caused by a person that's stirring up all of these things that will never leave the company until it's time to retire, then yeah, like I said before, I would be on the first thing smoking. This is a lose-win situation where it's a loss for you because you're not learning or gaining anything outside of a paycheck, and it's a win for them because they get to keep you around without any accountability. One thing I noticed, and this is no shade to anyone, but the people that are the most caught off guard by a layoff are those who have been comfortable. Like they found their spot, they're in their routine, they know what it is, they're just moving with it. And there's nothing wrong with having some sense of security and comfort. But when you're really after a goal or really after a thing, or you're really trying to grow and expand, you've got to leave a little bit of room for the uncomfortable. When you give yourself that bit of room, you can pivot more quickly, and you're not having to take time just from the whiplash or the punch that you received from this unexpectancy that occurred. And just want to encourage you to always keep that space, that room of capacity, because you never know what a company is up to. This is less about loyalty and more about keeping a foothold or keeping a space where you can grow, stick, and move without having to rebound or recover from being hit with something like this. At the end of the day, unless you're an entrepreneur, you don't really have control over the business dealings of your employer. You only really have control over yourself and your performance. If you see the writing on the wall, then sure, go ahead and jump off the sinking ship. But a warning, if you're not grounded to the company at all, then how can you leverage your time in being there? All I ask is that you use wisdom over emotion. I'll give you a quick example. I remember I was taking a job at the local zoo while I was in college, and I was in orientation, and we had to share why we applied for that company. And there was a person that kept it all the way real. This is an example of somebody who definitely is walking in the door not being loyal. And they asked him, "So what made you want to apply for a job here?" And he said, "I need the money." Boom, plain and simple. The facilitator promptly stopped the class, called somebody, called some people in the back or something, and they came and got him and escorted him out. I know as an entrepreneur, I don't want to hire someone that doesn't have any grounding or any connection to my company, even if it's not the last stop. So if you can find a way to dig in, you don't have to be married to it, then dig in and get the most out of it as you can. For those of you who have been laid off before, I'm curious. Let me know in the comments what the very next thing you did was. And I find them to be funny. Some people say I went to my favorite restaurant. Some people say I went to the park. Some people say I went to sleep. So I just want to hear from you. What was the next thing you did after you got laid off? All right. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the next video.